Hello everyone! I just recently filled up my sketchbook, so I figured it might be fun to do a little showcase of some of the drawings I made. Some of these have already been posted on my Tumblr, so if you're interested, check that out. It'll be in the description. I had this sketchbook from March to December of 2025, and I date all my pages, so I'll keep track of when everything was drawn up in the corner. Before I get into the actual drawings, I want to show off the cover of my notebook. A lot of the stickers I get from various places end up here, so there's a lot to say about them. First is the giant "Have a Garbage Day" sticker, which you might recognize from the game Donut County. I played the game next to my father, and I told him that the logo from the game would make a great sticker. He ended up getting this exact design in many colors, so I still have a lot of them left. I got lots of comments about this sticker specifically whenever I took out my sketchbook in public. I have a royal pear sticker, which I actually printed and cut myself since I missed the window to buy them from Pear Shop. I have a couple miscellaneous stickers at the bottom to fill up the space as well, being from different indie artists. Starting off on the actual drawings, I made a lot of OC content and a bit of short sword stuff, which gradually leads into more short swords as the year goes on. Specifically, I drew a lot of avian archive art and drawings of the gods of that world. I had one specific story featuring this character named Cassian, which I later scrapped, but there's still a lot of art of him in these early pages. You can tell a lot of my doodles are me joking around with the characters. I think this helps a lot with getting to know them better, even if it does satirize them way past where I'd take them if I was writing them seriously. Because a lot of these are quick, small drawings, I'm gonna go through this quickly, so feel free to pause if you wanna look around some more. On this page you can see my early concepts for my FD design and his scars, as well as having the scars appear on Preston's body. There's a sketch on this page that inspired this drawing here. Here I have some earlier designs for the gods of my world. Later on I did redesign them a bunch, and I have a sticky note with all their lore, which is kind of outdated but still relevant except Cassian stuff since I scrapped his story entirely. You can notice a lot of this encrypted text when I write, which is just my personal cipher that I use when I am in a public space and don't want other people reading my writing. It's nothing special. I think from here on is when I started making some more short sword stuff. I have an affinity for drawing Riggy and Preston in other characters' outfits, so see how many of those you can spot. Use code PAIR in the Fortnite item shop. This was around the time when Riggy's arm got cut off. I took an elevated interest in Toon her from then on, so you will see a lot more art of Riggy and co. This was a sketch of Dove and Wren, based on the chicken jockey meme that was going around, which eventually turned into this drawing. Key examples of me goofing around with various characters. Here I made some sketches for my failure design, which at the time I thought would be for clone failure. I also had this idea for all the clones to wear yellow uniforms, which I scrapped but thought it was interesting. Definitely an uptick in memes here. Around here I started exploring my idea of a dynamic between failure and C. and also drew FD a bit more. I was definitely inspired by the June archive, especially the video called White-Eyed Nightmare. Here I have a drawing of a lucky duo from Short Swords Role Reversal, which is an AU created by Ray Animates. This drawing stayed in my head and I eventually drew it digitally. I started drawing a lot more avian archive stuff, because around now was the time when I started making its final video, Swan Song. That video genuinely drove me insane. On this page I drew my fan design for Dark Dano, which I also digitized. At the beginning of June, Deltarune was updated and the June archive released new videos, so I drew some art for those. There is a big gap in the dates here, because I stopped drawing in this sketchbook over the summer, but during that time there was the Great Log Rot of 2025, so I drew FD and my log zonas a lot more. Again, a lot more FD doodles. Can you tell he's my favorite character yet? Melon in a femboy shirt. Here's a couple more avian archive memes. And here I have all the sketches of Ren at the different stages of his life, which I digitized recently. I drew this sketch of Craig Rumble mostly because I was excited to make his speech bubble shaped like his head. Started drawing my failure design a lot more here. I experimented with a more formless style in these pages, not separating the arms from the torso or the legs from each other. I also began drawing the shadow more because I think it's interesting. Some drawings relating to Johnny and his clone, as well as a little clone failure doodle that I inked. On this page I had a lot of drawings of Brett and Ray in the process of making this drawing. The next page has the sketch for my Legend anniversary drawing and one I think is really funny of me hiding Dave's arm. And over here is my interpretation of Transfembundin, inspired by Raz. I drew this nerdy version of FD explaining how Preston is his Toon Turf OC, and on the opposite page is Johnny on the normal album cover. Here is my human version of Ricky, which was drawn for an ask on my Tumblr. And on the next page is a drawing of C. holding a spear. Originally it was going to be FD because the name Francis is related to spears, but I thought it should be C. because the spear looked like Burnley from Get Up. The next couple pages are mostly drawings of Tim Travers from the movie Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox. Great movie, highly recommend. Continuing on with the Shorts War stuff. This page I tried working on shading and clothing folds. I was at a wedding, so I didn't want to draw funny rabbit monkey dude. Reanimate Shorts War's my goat. This is where I got the idea to make them a VTuber model. Best choice ever made, honestly. Next page has some lore for my gods. It's mostly outdated. Accidental blank page. Oops. Here I tried drawing different body types. And on the next page I drew Arian as W.D. Gaster from Undertale and Cyrus trying to tell Dove a bedtime story. From here on I started making concepts for Grayson and his gang. I attempted a new leg style on the bottom here. I tried making some concepts for my version of a court case and a conversation between the boss and Preston. And here is some more Preston designs. This one is an outfit swap for FD and the salesman, who I thought might be a more popular duo. Some more OC sketches, biggest ones being the computer girl I drew a year ago and another character I am still workshopping. More miscellaneous short swords and Toon Turf stuff. Here I started using colored pencils more. I drew Riggy in his formal outfit and a redesign of Dano. I also started using Dano's eye style more. Ferric is really cool. Little drawing of wowie and a big drawing of failure. And here I made a sketch of Riggy talking to Ruby about Dolph's death, to which Ruby says, "It's not your fault. Just rubbing salt in Riggy's wound at this point." This page was a bunch of doodles inspired by Good Kids East Side, which is currently unreleased, but I liked it a lot. And the infamous Aryan Shoefish drawing. Also some more redesigns of the gods. I wanted to make them more medieval, but I don't know how much I like them. Over the weekend between these pages I got hyperfixated on Crugston, so there's a lot of those drawings right at the end of the book. And that's about it. If you wanna see anything else in detail, I can totally post it on my Tumblr. Make sure to check me out over there. This video took a while to make, so I would appreciate it if you clicked a couple of the buttons below the video, but that's it from me. See you later.